Right, everyone. Catching this video a little late. Had a busy week. Life is slowing down a little bit, but I did want to do a round one analysis, see how things went. We're going to see how our round one matchups panned out. So with round one, we had Leonardo Barros bringing his Lust Demons against Michael Lone's Guardians. This is Mummified Undead. Now, both of these armies are very good. I definitely would say that when we looked at these armies, I think I may have given this to Lust Demons, but this ended up being a tie, 2-2 tie. So let me just pull those up real fast. I think both of these armies were very good. Let me see here. Michael Lone and Leonardo Barros. Okay, so let's see these two armies. Okay. So yeah, when we looked at these armies, this was the Guardian statues spam with the Sphinx. This was a really good army. Mummified Undead, I think, are really solid. He's got some just Def 2 units in there. The God statue, the Scarab Swarms were great chaff. And then, yeah, he's got these 3 Guardian statues with AP3 and Poison. So, pretty nasty combo. And he's got a repair bot running around here, probably for those 2 Sphinxes. So, and went up against Leonardo's Lust Demons. And these as well are pretty stinking good. It's more of a spam army. He's got the 4 Sacred Mirrors with the Deadly. So I really think, I'm not surprised this came out to be a tie. Both of these armies are very good. Both of them are tough, durable, hard-hitting. They sort of have everything going for them. So wasn't surprised at all that that these two armies ended up being a tie. We're going to look at their next matchups. But yeah, 2 very good armies. Okay. So with that in mind, oh yeah, let me show off some pictures before I get too much into the analysis. So just this, people posted in the Discord. I just want to show some of these. It looks so cool. So I think this one is Thomas Creek's army. This is the spamming army. Look at this army. It looks so cool. Just some of these pictures are so awesome just to like see. As you can see here, like this is really cool here. Just like some of the battlefields are just so cool. I appreciate the community going and building some of these maps. Like I said, just oh man, it's great to have these big Regiments games. Like this is so cool. And then we've got, oh yeah, so this is from War Bosses. I'll post the links in the description. But like there's also, so War Boss, this is his army against the Wood Elves, and then just here. So really like the battles, I've watched the War Boss one. I'm actually watching the Casual Commander one. Yeah, like these look so cool. This is, I think, Thomas's army. This is Michael's army, I apologize. Yeah, it looks really cool. And then, yeah, look at that one. It's just, so these games, the games I've watched and I've heard, sounds like a blast. Here, and again, let's just go to the War Boss one. I'll post the links in the description. So the War Boss posted his, really fun. And then Michael, the Casual Commander, also posted his in there. So their streams, but so I'm going to be catching when I start doing some painting this weekend. I'm going to be catching because this is a really cool battle as well. All right, so with that in mind, so really appreciate all the community sort of helping out there. Let's go look at where we're at. All right, so wasn't surprised to see Michael and Leonardo tie, 2 very good armies. We then have a Hans Hildebrand versus War Boss, and this was also a tie. And I think it's really cool that we get some ties. It really shows that this was another really interesting matchup because I think I predicted War Boss to win this one, but I think they were saying the terrain was pretty heavy. And you know the thing, when you have kind of Strider armies, difficult terrain is just going to be a lot more beneficial. I do know that I was watching the army, and I think that War Boss's army did really well, just like kind of shooting and murdering these things. I think, though, he lost his marksman early, and this just turned into a big guy heavy battle. I saw those War Dancers just did work with that glider wings, and basically getting like being able to teleport and get flanks. Pretty nasty. So these War Dancers did work. I think the Tree Giants also did work as well. Yeah, just I watched the army, really good battle, and I wasn't surprised these two tied. Although I was expecting Warboss to win, but I think with so much terrain, Warboss was at a bit of a disadvantage here. The next one we have is Thomas Creek. He went up against the Evie and Ard boys from James, and let's look at that one. So this is the one that had basically the big brutes, the big orc brutes, and the big 12-man block. Like, it's just crazy. So he had this huge 12-man block, but he went up against Thomas Creek's army, which I think was a spam army. Now, I think in this particular case, unfortunately, I think one of their computers died, and there was a technical part. They weren't able to finish the battle. So I think that because of that, I think James won, which is really sad because I think this. So I think in the end it was James who took the victory because of a concession, I believe. I don't know, something. Yeah, James. So I'm guessing that there was some technical difficulty. And that just happens. I mean, that is unfortunately just life. But these two armies, I think, are really good. I think that Thomas Creek's army is still really solid. And I would have loved to have seen how that battle ended, because I think these two armies are going to match up well against each other. So we have a win there. And then we have Alex going up against Stephen Walter's Beastman. He was the sub, but still a really good army. And Alex, I think, there's a reason that I judge Human Empires as an A-tier army. Very good army. I mean, like, Alex's list is super solid. He's got shooting, he's got buffing, he's got monsters, he's got a lot of spell casting going on. A lot of spell casting. He's got the artillerists. Two of these artillerists, he's basically spamming out these artillery pieces. So Alex has a really good list. He's also got some of these elite weapon masters, which I love. He's got the 2 20-man units of fanatics, which I love. The 2 mage councils, just a very good armor. And then he's got the Griffin. No, I'm sorry. This is the Griffin. Yeah, this is the Griffin upgrade. So he's got a nice maneuverability here. And I think Stevens Walters is good, but I think that this is a really good army from Alex. All right, so that is our round 1s. Let's go into our round 2s. So with the matchup here, we now have the 2 winners, which was Alex and James are going up against each other. I think both of these armies are really interesting. Alex, as I said, is it's a really good army. Like, I think Human Empire is great, and Alex is bringing all the stuff that you bring in Human Empire. He's got the buffs. He's got, like, the Storm Blessings +1 to hit the Celestial Fury. He's got the Griff Riders. He's just got 2 units of Griff Riders. Yeah, just hard hitting. He's got shooting. He's got chaff. It's a very difficult army. I think Alex, this Human Empire army is very difficult to deal with. And he's going up against James's orcs. Now, his orcs are actually going to do pretty well. Those black orcs, if you can get them in hand-to-hand with those Griff Riders, are going to do work. He's got the counter, which could help. The chieftain with the brute orcs. So he's got this big 12-man blob of brute orcs that are going to sort of blow up whatever they hit. I'm going to be seeing how Alex is going to be sort of dealing with that. He's going to need his artillery to hit. The wild orcs have the scout, and he's got the 2 wild orcs, and then he's got these giant boar riders, which I think he's going to be using these as more flanking here. So these are going to be really pivotal for the matchup, I think. Can James get some good flanks with these boars? But Alex also has his Battle Master. So I think this battle is going to come down to, can James use these giant boar riders to like they do decent damage, but if you get the flanks, that's just a truck ton of like he's doubling the impact and doubling the hand on everything with Furious. He's also got a flyer. Yeah, the Maulworm. So this is a fast army though. The Black Orcs, he's got a lot of Warcry in the army. Yeah, a lot of Warcry. Oh, these guys, these Brood Orcs are Warcry. So he's got a 12-man a 12-man Brood Orcs blob that's going to be Warcried up. Yeah, because he has, where is it at? Yeah, that's a fast unit right there. Gonna be really interesting. I probably am still. This is a hard call because I think both of these armies are very good. I think I'm probably going to give this to Alex. I think that Alex probably has the tools he needs to slow down. I think those Brood Orcs are going to murder something once a turn, but Alex has enough units that he can like hit them with multiple units. Because remember, once this big blob hits something, they're all fatigued. That's like the disadvantage of running these really big units, is that they are going to murder something, but then they can get hit by like 2 or 3 other units. And because they're going to all be fatigued, that could just wear them down. The other thing I think that James doesn't have is he doesn't have a lot of leadership in the army. His chieftain is... This is the big problem with orcs. They're just a quality 4 army. Everything in this army is quality 4. Whereas, Human Empire, they've got a lot of fearless. The Battle Master's fearless. The Fanatics are fearless. The Weapon Masters are fearless. The Griff Riders are fearless. So Human Empire is a great army because they sort of have fearless on what they need. He's got the shooting. So I think this is going to come down to probably James is going to do well early, but then if he doesn't get some good leadership tests, he does. The other thing I think that I really would have liked to have seen for James, I really wanted to see standards in this army. He's got musicians and he's got sergeants. I think that in orcs, you really need standards. And I think that would be my one critique of James's list. I still think James can win this. And if he just gets some decent morale rolls, he can certainly just sort of roll over Alex. It's going to be a really close one. I'm going to give the edge to Alex because he does have fearless on some key units. But I think that James can easily take this. So I'll give Alex the win on this one here. All right, the next matchup is going to be Leonardo's Lust Demons against Warboss's Volcanic Dwarves. Now, I think this is probably going to be a good Warboss army. So Warboss's army, it's wonky. I think the good way of describing it, it's going to do really well against some matchup and really bad in others. And I think that in this particular case, Warboss is going to go up against an army that I think he likes this list. It's a list that doesn't have a lot of high AP. He's got Rending, but then again, like Warboss has a lot of Def 3 in these big Magma champions, and I watched that list that last time. These guys are just going to do a lot of work. He's got some... What is that? Leonardo does have some Rending in the army. Rending... Where's the other Rend? He's got Rending here. Where's his Rending at? Well, he actually has a decent amount of Rending. Maybe I'm correct. Maybe I shouldn't say that. He's got a couple units. The thing is that like Warboss has got the shooting. He's generally going to be able to like delete 2 units a turn. The Sacred Mira can do work against those Magma champions. It's going to be interesting. This is actually a hard call. These calls all have caster. What is he casting? The +1 to charge is interesting. He's casting the flying. Maybe. I don't know if the flying is going to matter. Next time they fight in melee, this is probably a key thing. So one of the things that's going to be happening here is that Leonardo is going to be trying to get this level 3 spell off. The +3 on the charge. That's sort of like the make or break point for Leonardo's list. He wants to get that level 3 to have all his guys hit on 2s. We have Warboss has a -2 to melee. So actually, I think spells are going to play a pretty important role in this game, where there's a lot of spell tokens that are going to be around. I mean, you got the 4 Sacred Mirrors. That's 12 plus what? I think it's 12 spell tokens to 8 spell tokens. And I think it's going to be who can get their level 3s off. Because if Warboss can stop the level 3, there's not going to be a lot that Leonardo can do with those 4 Magma Champions. It's going to be close. I'm going to give this to Warboss because I think these shooters, he's really going to be just like wiping out 2 units a turn. Yeah, I'll give that to Warboss. All right, and then we have the third one is Thomas Creek against Michael Loam. So we get the 2 mummified deads against each other. Now, this is a matchup that I think we all wanted to see here. And let's see what it's going to look like. We've got, so both of these armies, they're very different. We've got the spamming Guardian statues with poison and AP3. That's not going to do a lot of... Like, that AP3 isn't going to really matter against Thomas's army, who's all def 5 and 6. So the AP3 is a little overkill. The poison is just going to do work. So the Guardian statues are going to be able to murder things. But the thing is that Thomas just has a ton of units. Like a ton of them. I mean, he's got, this is 100, 200, 30, plus another 30, like 260 wounds worth. That is just a lot, and they're not going to break. They're undead. Is there a lot of, what's the caster in Michael's army? He's got, the thing is, Thomas has him on caster. He's got a god statue, caster 3. That's it, right? He's only got caster 3, where Thomas has caster 4. Oh, there's not a lot of caster in there either. Okay, that's interesting. Boy, this is a tough one. The Guardian statues aren't that tough. They're only def 4. He does have banners, which I really love that Michael has banners in the army, which I just really love. So those Guardian statues aren't going anywhere with the 2 up. There's no banners in Thomas's army, so he's going to be losing a lot of stuff to undead when he fails those morale checks. Actually, it's going to be a very difficult thing to call. Both of these armies want to get their +3 to hit. I think that's what they're trying to do here. I think that Michael is definitely going to be eating. He's going to be just killing one of Thomas's army. It's a question of can Thomas just basically slow him down? Because what Thomas is just trying to do, he's just trying to slow down the opponent. And remember, this is scenario 2. And in scenario 2... this is the table quarters. Let me just check here. All right, so just so we know here, we're into the second game, and in this one, so what it works is that there is one objective in the center worth 2 victory points, and that every table quarter is worth 1 if you have more. So this is going to favor people who have a lot of multiple small units. That's probably going to favor Thomas because Thomas is just going to have a ton of units that he can sort of out. Because remember, all this matters is if a unit has more, the units must have the majority of their base. Yeah, they have more units in. So this is probably scenario. I think if it was a different scenario, I'd give this to Michael. But the scenario actually heavily favors Thomas because this scenario is going to favor a lot of multiple small units. So Thomas does have a ton of units. He can basically keep 2 of his... He basically can probably just hold his 2 sides. Then it comes a question of, can he just stop, This may go to Thomas, actually, purely because of the scenario. Michael's list, this isn't great for his list because he runs a very elite list where Thomas has just spam. That may be the issue. The Scarab Swarms could be very pivotal in this matchup, but it's going to be a close one. I may, for just this scenario, give this to Thomas. It's going to be close, though. It's going to be close. All right, our last matchup is a sub. So we have a sub, and this sub, appreciate, is Ryan. Ryan is running his Saurians against Hans's Wood Elves. Now, I watched this thing with Warboss, and Hans plays this army really well. The other thing that I think that we forget about, I forgot, is this Forest Ancient is Def 2 Quality 2. I was watching this thing when he played against Warboss, and this thing was so difficult to kill. I mean, like, so difficult to kill. He's going up against Ryan Saurian, so this is a spam, this is a Gator spam list. It's just, basically, he's got some caster, he's got a frog mage, he's got like some caster, but his big thing, he's spamming Gators. These guys are all AP3, AP4 spam, Primal Roar, and it's a very high AP centric. It's sort of a counter list. Now, the thing is, all that AP4 and AP3 can actually do work against this Forest Ancient. So, the Tree Giants and Forest Ancients, this is probably not a list they want to go up against because all of this is like AP4 and AP3. So, they're going to be able to blow through that armor. Now, that still is tough 24, but actually, Ryan's got the hitting power to actually punch through that Forest Ancient. This is probably going to go to Ryan, I think. I think that Ryan's list is really good against high def lists and really bad against maybe like Thomas's list. I think that with the Fearless, the other thing that I think that Ryan, both of these guys are good players. I've seen Ryan in the last one. Very good list. It's all Fearless. So that's another thing. He's got the caster very similar on caster. Regen is actually going to come pretty heavily important. Getting the regrow off is going to be a pretty important spell to get off. Maybe the -1 to hit. So Hans is really going to have to get his spells. His spells are going to be very important in this game. The -1 to hit is going to be really important against those Gators who hit on Forest Base. The War Dancers, I think, are going to have to do a lot of work, but they can do it. The thing is that Ryan's list has a lot of depth 3, and there isn't a lot of high AP in Hans's list. Hans is going to have to play this really well. The advantage is there's no shooting. So the Wild Lancers are going to do work. The War Dancers are going to do work. And I think the champion as well, he needs to get some flanks. In a straight up fight, I think that Ryan is going to win. It's whether Hans can play maneuverable enough to get the flanks. But I think I'm going to have to give this to Ryan. All right, this is going up against Ryan's list. So, shorter one here. I think this is going to be some really good matchups. And looking forward to it. Thanks, everyone.